The Warren East Raiders are off to a 5-3 start and starting to eye the windup of district play.
The offense has been very good this season, scoring over 30 points in all 5 of the team's wins. And right now, we are joined by their head coach, Ben Bruni. Coach, thanks for being on.
Glad to be here, guys.
Good to have you, Coach.
Thank you.
Coach, the 5-3 start, really, right now, when you look at the team, are you guys where you want them to be, or there's still some things you guys are working on? Where are you guys at right now?
Well, I think that overall that we've achieved our goal of putting ourselves in a good position for the playoffs. I think we underachieved a little bit, and we lost a couple of games that I felt like we had opportunities to win. But it was still a young football team. We're still learning how to win at a high level. Obviously, we haven't done a lot of that in the last couple of years. So I am pleased with this team's progress. I'm pleased that these seniors are getting to have a taste of some real success throughout the regular season. And hopefully we'll keep improving. I think we've really improved the last 2 weeks in district play. And if we can continue to do that, maybe we'll make some noise in the playoffs.
Yeah, and, Coach, one of the things I've noticed about you guys, statistically very balanced offensively, being able to run and throw the ball. Andrew and I were talking earlier about how the elements start to change come playoff time. Seems like that would serve you guys well, knowing that, hey, we don't rely on one or the other because you never know what the weather's going to be like.
Exactly. I've played in playoff games where we're standing 3 feet of, water, and then in other playoff games where for some reason it's decided to be 65 degrees in the middle of November. So you never know what you're going to get. I think that the best policy as a football team, in order to have success in the playoffs is to be able to do both. Because some teams, you never know what you're going to see. Some teams will have better, more athletic secondary where you've got to run the ball to help yourself out. You can't throw it or they'll make turnovers happen. And other teams will be immense up front. And, you can't just run it down their throat. You've got to space them out a little bit. So I think in order to be successful, you really got to break it up and give yourself variety in the run and pass game.
You mentioned you have a young team this year and that there were some tough losses. After some of those losses, how do you as a coach with such a young team kind of get them, kind of shape them to realize, this is one game, but how to step up the following week and not let a loss really affect the team?
Well, I think we really started on that last year. Last year we were 2-9, and it was the most enjoyable 9 losses I've ever had. We had a great group of kids who each week came in and worked hard, and they kept believing in what I kept telling them, which is, this will pay off. It will really pay off, and I think it's really paying off this year. I think it's got a chance to really pay off next year as well. But I think it's more of a signature of the resiliency and kind of the fortitude that last year's group showed in getting us to this point.
Coach, I know in your district, obviously some very tough teams. You guys have faced Franklin Simpson ACS coming up. We were talking about this earlier. When you face a team in your district, win or lose, and then you might meet them again in the playoffs, how do you prepare for those, especially a team Franklin Simpson? You lost a very close game. They're very hot. But it doesn't mean the season's over, and you could very well see them again in the playoffs.
Well, I think everybody on our team would like to see Franklin Simpson again because it would mean we had made a run in the playoffs, and it would mean that we had an opportunity to kind of maybe right a few wrongs that we felt went that way. I think that when you play teams that you may play again, I'm not a big believer in hiding anything. I think you are who you are, and that's just how you're going to be. And, you can more raise the level of play that you execute at rather than trying to be tricky and hide a few things and pull a few tricks out of your bag, because ultimately, Franklin Simpson's going to come down to, how they run the football. We're going to come down to, how we do a few basic things. Allen County is the same story. Bowling Green even is the same story. We all do a few things really well, and the level at which we execute those few things, that's going to make the difference.
We've talked about your offense being balanced this year, and obviously football is certainly a team game if there ever was one. But you guys have a pretty special running back in Darius Barnett who we've seen make some pretty big plays this year, some long runs, and just a very explosive player. Can you talk about him a little bit this year and what he's meant to your football team on the offensive side of the ball?
Well, Darius is a guy who's had to, tote the ball for us for a couple of years, leading into this year and taken a lot of hits and carried the ball a lot and never really complained. So I think he's benefiting more than anything from the senior offensive line that we have. We have three seniors on the offensive line. Another's a second-year starter, so he's got a lot of experience in front of him. And then he's complemented by a really good running back in Stephen Golden. Quarterback Jimmy Burns has done a lot of great things, and our wide receivers have really opened up the passing game. So I think Darius is flourishing as a result of a lot of other people's work. That's not to take away from anything. I mean, he's a very capable, excellent player who has flourished even without all those additional things. So I think he's kind of getting what he deserves, which is an opportunity to really showcase what a great player he is.
Coach, we had a chance on the Sporting Times radio show last week to speak with Coach Brad Hood at Allen County leading up to your matchup with them. A big win for you guys, particularly in district play. And I asked him, knowing that you guys go back a long ways, what does that mean if one or the other can get the win over the other? And he said, well, right now it just means the other has to buy breakfast next year. So you looking forward to cashing in some bacon and eggs next fall?
Absolutely. We actually trade film at Waffle House, and it's become our tradition that the loser has to buy it. For the first 2 years he had to buy it, and then for 3 straight years I had to buy it, and he kind of owned me, and we joke about it, and we talk all the time. So, I'm really looking forward to next year because, I think I'm going to order the menu.
Now as the regular season's winding down, we're getting closer to playoffs. What's the mentality of the team? Do you approach coaching any differently with things you're telling them? Regular season's almost over, and here come the playoffs, really the important time of the year?
I think the finality of it really begins to sink in, especially with the seniors, and I really begin to harp on that at this point. It's just you only have so many games that you're guaranteed, and those guaranteed games are coming to an end. We have 2 games left in the regular season and then 1 guaranteed playoff game. And after that, you're done. And for most high school seniors, it's the last football game they'll play. Not a lot of guys go on and play at the next level. So I think there's a certain finality that begins to sink in with kids. They realize it. They begin to play a little harder, play with a little more passion. Their focus becomes a little more intense. So, I think we just really try to harbor that and to, and let that carry us. It's really our seniors team. The wins and losses belong to them.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you taking your time and being on today, and we wish you the best of luck the rest of the season. Time for a quick break, but stick around. You're watching the Sports Connection on WBKO.